So I will share my screen right now. So you will see everything what I'm doing. Okay, I've shared my screen. And what I will do right now is I will go to mlzoomcamp.com, which is the website for our course, mlzoomcamp.com. It will redirect you to this GitHub page, github.com Datadog Club Machine Learning Zoomcamp. If you took this course previously, or you were thinking about taking this course previously, you might realize that the URL has changed. It did, yeah. So previously it was under my personal profile, GitHub, Alexey Grigoryev, and then there was a repo, ML Bootcamp code, because there is a book that I wrote, Machine Learning Bootcamp, and then the course that we will start this year in September is based on that book. So previously it used to be in the code, the repo for the course used to be in this repo. Under the book repo, there was this thing, but right now, yeah, it's moved here. So if you accidentally come to the old repo, you will be redirected here, right? So this is the main repo for the course. And here, if you haven't signed up, this is the button that you use for signing up. So you will have this Airtable form that you fill in. This is something you can send to your friends. Right now, we finally have an automation. So when you fill in this form, you add your email here, you are automatically added to our mailing list, and then there is a message that is automatically sent to you, hopefully, that tells you what to do. If you don't get this message, don't worry. The important thing is that you either get in, or ideally both, you get into our Slack and then join the course channel, or join the course Telegram channel. So these are the two main, and also the newsletter, these are the main ways we communicate the course progress with you. So we typically make all the announcements through the Telegram channel, this one, and then it is automatically posted in Slack too. But in Slack, you can ask questions, and then the instructors, the community will answer these questions. Okay, so that's the repo. And the plan for today's stream is, first I will go through this repo. I will maybe talk what the course will teach you, and then we will spend most of the time, answering your questions. Right, so the idea behind this course, the reason this course exists, is to teach you the basics of machine learning, enough basics so that you can become a machine learning engineer. So there are two parts in this course. The first part is the basics of machine learning. So we talk about things, what is regression, what is classification, how we can evaluate our models. Then we also talk about decision tree, neural networks. And then the second part is how do we take the model that we train and make it useful. And by making it useful, how we can build a web service that could be used, the web service with this model that could be used by other parts of the organization, let's say by the backend engineers. They can send something to this web service and get back the predictions. So without this, without the deployment part, your machine learning models are usually useless. They just live in a Jupyter notebook. And in this course, we teach you how first to create this model that lives in a Jupyter notebook, and then how to take this model from a Jupyter notebook and make it available for consumption. So there are two parts in this course. And the introduction to machine learning and the introduction to machine learning engineering. So by the end of this course, you will learn enough to actually work as a machine learning engineer. And this is many people who finished the course. It's the third time we run it. Many people who finished it previously actually got a job as machine learning engineer or data scientist. And as a part of this course, the most important part you will need to do projects. You will need to do 2 up to 3 projects. And this is the most important part. So when doing projects, you will actually apply everything you learned in practice. So you will see let's say here we'll talk about logistic regression. You will see how to take this logistic regression and apply it to something that is close to real world. So you will build a portfolio of projects, at least 2 projects, and this is something you can show to hiring managers to hire, and then they will use this information to hire you. At the end of the course, you will get a certificate, and you will get this certificate only if you complete 2 out of 3 projects. So we will not take a look at the homework you will do for the modules. We will only look at the projects. So you will need to complete 2 out of 3 projects. Some people did 3 projects, some people did only 2, and this is the passing criteria. And I don't think I need to explain everything that is happening on this page. You can just go through this page yourself and see what is there in the content. Like, there's quite a detailed thing. And actually you can start going through the content right now. Like, after this stream, if you want, you can already go click here and then go through the content, right? So you will see here, so this thing, you click on this and then a YouTube link will open, and then you can go through this video, right? And then you can, I don't know, take notes or whatever you do. You can basically start learning from the videos already. So all the materials are there. We will not change anything from the last year. Maybe about the change of content, I will talk later in the course launch. But right now, the important part for you, if you want to start earlier, you can definitely, by all means, start earlier. Just go through this content, and then, you can just do homework later. But the content is already there. Another interesting thing I should mention is, for each of the modules, there are community notes, right? On these community notes, sometimes they could be even more useful than the videos themselves. Because, for example, if we open these notes from Alvaro, so Alvaro was a student of the first iteration, and he took very good and extensive notes. So then, you can just use these notes actually even as a replacement for videos. But maybe you should watch the videos and have the notes side by side. But there is a lot of useful information in these notes, right? If something is not clear in the video, chances are that in one of these different notes from students, these concepts are explained in slightly different language. Okay, let's see. Wow, 179 people are watching now. I see that you ask questions here. I don't know why it should be. So I see that you ask questions here, right? Instead, please click on this link, the pinned link, and ask your questions here. What I will do right now, I see that you already asked questions here. So what I will do right now is I will switch to the presentation mode here, and I will answer your questions that you ask through the form. Because right now I see that you have a lot of questions here, and it's just very difficult to go through the live chat and answer them. So let me go here. And I will start with the first question. Hi, Alexei, will there be any project related to LLMs or LangChain, or using any generative AI API to build an ML project? We do not plan anything like that in the course. So this is more like classical ML. We will have some deep learning, but we will not have LLMs per se in the course. But you can use LLMs as a part of your project. For example, you can use GPT-3 or GPT 3.5, whatever, from OpenAI to generate some data for you, right? So that's one of the things you can do. Or, for example, we used last year for the deep learning module, we used this generative AI model for pictures. So we generated pictures of dinosaurs and dragons, and then we asked you as a part of your homework to build a model that can distinguish dinosaurs from dragons. So you can do something similar for your own projects too. but we will not show you how to do this. So it will be a part of your self-learning. And if this is entirely new for you, everything is entirely new for you, so maybe you should follow a slightly easier route and find a data set that is already there and do a project around that. But if you feel adventurous, if you already know some machine learning, then by all means, you can go and play with LLMs or LangChain or whatever. But we will not have a module about that. We can try to organize a workshop about that. I cannot promise anything right now, but we might have somebody to come to our community and teach about that. It will not be a part of the course though, but in our community, we regularly do different workshops. We show you how to use different tools. So it's pretty likely that at some point we will have a workshop about that. Okay. Is there a way to track our progress, or there is an effective way to increase our learning while keeping track of what I learn when I learn? Okay, this is quite a deep question. Like, there are of course many ways to track your progress. You can, I don't know, pen and paper for that. What we do to incentivize learning and to also keep you track your progress is we have a leaderboard. Okay, so this is not what I wanted. We have a leaderboard. I will show you the leaderboard from the last year. Yeah, we have this leaderboard, right? So this is the leaderboard with all the homework. So for example, homework 1, then we anonymize your email, we hash it, right? So nobody knows who is the exact person behind this email, right? And then we give you feedback of what kind of scores you have. And then there's this leaderboard, right, where you can track your overall progress. I don't, Google Sheets does not want to work for some reasons. Maybe it's just too much data. I'm trying to scroll it. Okay, you have to believe me if I scroll. Yeah. Next page. Maybe I'll try to just reload it. It's probably too much data. So if I scroll it, if I go here, yeah, I guess it's just too many students to take the course. I did not, okay. So you see that there is total, right? So this is how we incentivize you also to work on homework. And then this is how we help you track your progress. And you may see that for each homework, there is this learning in public thing. And this is another thing we want you to do, is we want to share it, not only track your progress, but share your progress in public. And what I mean by that is every time you learn a new concept, okay, let me just close it. Every time you learn a new concept, we want you to share this with on social media, for example, on LinkedIn or on Twitter or whatever you use. And not only it will give you extra visibility. So let's say if you're looking for a job, then you can share your progress, and then many people will see that you're learning. And this way you will find more opportunities by the time you finish the course. We also want to give you some scores, some virtual scores on this leaderboard to incentivize you. And of course, when you do this, you also help the course by spreading the word about the course. So it's a win-win situation for both of us, for the students and for the course instructors. So I don't know if I answered your question. So yeah, it's like quite a complex question, but like for tracking your progress, our progress will have the leaderboard. Effective way to increase our learning is learning in public. And while keeping track of what I learn when I learn, yeah, I don't know, take notes, I guess. Okay, so let me answer the next one. Artificial intelligence is progressing at a fast pace. Will you include cutting-edge and up-to-date learning content, deep learning, AutoML, generative AI? No, I mean, deep learning is there. One of the modules is about computer vision and using deep learning for computer vision. So the purpose of this course is give you the foundation. And the purpose of this course is to teach you about machine learning engineering, not about AI, right? There is a difference. So here we focus on engineering. We focus on getting the model, a simple model, and deploying it, exposing it, making it useful for others, right? And okay, these things also progress at a very fast pace, right? But Kubernetes 3 years ago and Kubernetes now are still similar, or AWS 3 years ago, AWS now are still similar, like the main services they use. Of course, there are new services, but the concepts, the fundamentals, they still stay the same. Logistic regression 3 years ago, logistic regression 20 years ago, and logistic regression today are still the same models, right? And this is what we teach, right? And then by the end, by the time you finish the course, you can go and learn a different platform for deploying models, or you can learn a different model. And then you will have the information, you will have the foundation to do that, right? So this is what we aim at giving, but we also want to do it in a very practical way that you don't actually, like, you learn enough to get hired and then learn these things at your job. So you will not need to do anything extra. Like, you already should be by the end of the course. Of course, depends on you and up to you how you do this. By the time you finish the course, you should have everything you need to get hired as a machine learning engineer, not as artificial intelligence scientist, not as a data scientist, although data scientists might be too here. But yeah, the goal is not to teach you the cutting edge things, but to give you the foundation. Is this course also for beginners without experience in the field of data? Yes, this is a course for beginners. So if you did some machine learning in the past, okay, good for you. But we assume no knowledge about machine learning, no knowledge of data in the past. But of course, there are some prerequisites. So we expect you to be comfortable with programming. So maybe you did some courses in your university, or you already work as a software engineer, but you need to be comfortable with programming, right? So these are the prerequisites, right? So you need to have some programming experience. Could be from work, could be from college, whatever, pet projects, but you need to be able to code, right? So if you cannot code, if this is the first time you program, probably you need to take a Python course before doing that. Then we also use command line extensively, and ideally you are comfortable with the command line. If you are not, then you will need to learn both the command line and machine learning. It may be challenging, but many students from past iterations did that, and now they know both things, right? So it's not impossible, but we assume that you already know that. Of course, there are courses that you can take in parallel to be more comfortable with the command line, but we expect that you know that. And yeah, we don't expect any prior knowledge of machine learning, right? Yeah, these things are helpful if you know Python. But Python is quite a simple language, so if you know some other language like JavaScript, Java, I don't know what else is there, like Go, you will pick up Python pretty quickly, right? And then prior exposure to linear algebra is helpful for the first couple of weeks, because we show you some formulas, we explain what these formulas mean, we explain how to implement this. But if you have seen these formulas in the past, they look less scary for you. That's why prior exposure to linear algebra is helpful. It's not mandatory though, right? So if you never did any linear algebra, we will do our best to explain the main concepts. And there are not so many of them that you need for this course. It's just like matrix multiplication. We will talk about that. So these are the prerequisites. So you don't need to know other things. Are there set deadlines for the projects? They are not set yet, but definitely there are deadlines. Yeah. So you will see this later. If you want to know, you can, let me see. I want to show you the deadlines from the last year. So let me open it. So there was this deadline calendar. last year, right? For each of the modules, you had like start of the module, homework due, and then we had projects, right? Of course, there are deadlines. Without deadlines, nobody will do anything. At least I need a deadline to finish something. If there is no deadline, I will watch TV shows and not do anything until it's very late. What are the chances of getting a job after passing this course and doing all the project? Pretty high. Of course, it depends on you. Also depends on geographical area where you live. Let's say if you live in New York or Berlin or I don't know, Amsterdam, Paris, like some big tech hub, Silicon Valley, Seattle, right? If you live in a big tech hub, you will find a job. It will be easier for you to find a job. If you live in a village, you will need to look for a remote job. It will be more difficult, right? So it depends on many things, but mostly, yes, many people who graduated from this course, they did not have problems finding a job because they knew enough to get a job, and the courses they had was good, served as a good portfolio. Yeah, the chances are pretty high, but it depends on you. We cannot give you any guarantees, of course. It's up to you to actually use this knowledge from the course to find a job afterwards. On the first iteration, we partnered with a company, and that company hired 2 interns from the people who graduated. Last year, unfortunately, it was already a recession. Companies were hesitant to hire interns. This year, we have not established any partnerships. If you already work at a company and you think your company could be interested and can benefit from having some interns from the people who finished the course, please get in touch. And I know that people who graduate from this course, this is a pretty intensive course. It's a challenging course. So people who make it through and finish all the project, they are really good students. So if you are from a company and you want to get good interns, please reach out and we can do something. Okay, you mentioned that this course is for machine learning engineering. Is there a big difference between this course and the MLOps then? Kubernetes, Kubeflow is covered. So I would say that this course is introduction to ML engineering and MLOps is more like advanced class, right? So in the MLOps course, we cover other concepts. So here we focus on serving. So that's why it's more like introduction to ML engineering, and then MLOps is other things that we also need to cover for a successful machine learning project, right? So there is difference, and the difference is in the content. You can just go and check the MLOps course, MLOps Zoomcamp. So this is the link, and you can just look at the syllabus, right? So yeah, there's difference. How much effort will the projects, approximately the midterm and capstone project? Depends on your background. So there are some data publicly available. You can, one of the students from the first iteration, Timur, he was also a teaching assistant on the second iteration. He did a very good analysis. I think he published that here. Let me check. Zoomcamp analytics. Yeah. So check this project. So Timur published the stats for first 2 iterations, and in this, I hope it renders now. So when you submit your homework, we ask you how much time you spent, and we can share the data from the previous iteration with you. And yeah, maybe it's good if you just go through these notebooks that Timur did, because I don't know if on GitHub they are rendered well. Let me just try to check it. Okay, I think it will take some time for me to find it, but yeah, The short answer to this question is like from 5 hours to 20 hours. So it can vary a lot on your background. But yeah, it shouldn't take more than 20 hours. If you take more than 20, usually it's because you want to make this project really good. Or maybe you do not have some of the prerequisites that we mentioned. Maybe for you it's more difficult to program. Yeah, but some people just like to build very complex projects. If you want to do that and you have free time, by all means. But if you don't have free time, then investing up to 20 hours in a project should be sufficient. Do you plan to run again Data Engineering Zoomcamp this year? No. We run it once per year in January. So the next iteration of Data Engineering Zoomcamp will happen in January 2024. A question from Albert. I have a degree in computer science, experience as a SQL developer, completed Data Engineering Zoomcamp, and looking for a job as data engineering. Is ML knowledge useful for data engineer? I would say no. I mean, it's kind of useful to broaden your knowledge and career opportunities, but as a data engineer, it's very unlikely that you will need to deal with machine learning directly. Many data engineers don't work with data scientists at all, so they work, for example, with analysts, and they make sure that the analysts have data. Some data engineers do work with data scientists, ML engineers, and in this case, yeah, it could be useful. I wouldn't say it's useless, but again, if your goal is to get a job as a data engineer, I would spend this time, instead of taking this course, I would spend time building your portfolio, maybe doing more projects, and then interviewing with companies rather than trying to also get machine learning. So yeah. How this course compares to Andrew Engs ML course on Coursera, both introductory. Well, the Andrew Eng course is an amazing course, and I don't think any course can compete with that course, because like for me, my journey into machine learning started with that course. Right? So the way he explains things is truly amazing. So we take a slightly different approach. We focus on, it's very practical. In many cases, it's code along, it's code first, right? So we try to explain many things with code. And yeah, here we have Python. Yeah, it's a very different course. I don't even know how to compare. Yeah, maybe what I will answer is just take them both and see what you like more. But again, the course by Andrew Eng is more like Introduction to Machine Learning. And here we have Introduction to Machine Learning Engineering. These are different things, right? So Andrew Eng does not teach you Kubernetes. We do, right? So that's, so there is a bit of overlap, right? But for example, Andrew Eng goes into recommender systems. We don't, right? We both cover, I don't know, logistic regression, but then we also go into the deployment side of things. Based on the previous cohorts, is there an optimal amount of time? Yeah, I think I answered that question. So check the analytics that Timur prepared. And again, it depends on your background. Question from Mark. Will the Zoomcamp follow along the book, or is it recommended to have the book? Well, it is definitely connected because the course is based on the book. So first I wrote the book, and then I thought it's a really awesome idea to have a course based on the book. And then this is how Machine Learning Zoomcamp appeared. That's why the name. So the marketing people from Manning came up with this title, ML Bootcamp, which is amazing. And I thought, let's follow the same kind of pattern, but it's not a book, it's a Zoomcamp. Yeah, that's how the name was born, even though we technically don't even use Zoom. So right now you watch this video through YouTube, right? But yeah, the name is kind of funny. Yeah, the book will probably help you, but it's not required, right? Yeah, I think some students of the previous iteration wrote that the book was helpful. But again, like, of course, if you buy the book, I will get, I don't know, 10% of that money will go to me eventually. But yeah, like, you don't have to buy the book. There are notes there that you can use that are quite extensive too. But yeah, anything particularly new compared to 2022? No. So the content is still the same, videos are still the same. It's actually will be one module less this year compared to last year. So we will move the band to ML module. If you took the previous cohort, you know what I'm talking about. So one of the modules about deployment will go to ML Ops Zoomcamp. So it will not stay here. We will cover it in the other course, more advanced course. I would like to know why TensorFlow isn't PyTorch more popular nowadays. Maybe. I'm not sure. I think last time I checked, TensorFlow was still more popular in industry, while PyTorch was more popular in academia and Kaggle competitions. But like, the concepts transfer, right? So if you know Keras that we cover in the course, you will also be able to use PyTorch. And by the way, recently Keras introduced a new backend. So Keras is like a wrapper around lower level libraries. So in the course, we use Keras with TensorFlow, but now Keras is also available for PyTorch. So you can use the same code that we create in that course, but then internally, Keras will actually use PyTorch, right? So technically, I can say that in this course, we kind of use, or you kind of can use PyTorch as well, right? So you just take the same code we produce from TensorFlow, you change the backend for Keras, and then you use PyTorch. So it's pretty cool, right? Will the course cover neural networks in deep? No, we will not cover any topic in depth. So it's an introductory course. We cover only fundamentals. There will be a module about deep learning. It will be about convolutional neural networks for image classification, and that's all. So it's not a course about deep learning. If you want to learn deep learning and neural nets in more detail, in depth, then this is not the course for you. And in this course, we give you suggestions where you can find other courses, what you should learn to cover this topic in more details. I registered for the course, but did not get any confirmation emails. Is registration needed to submit homeworks and projects? Registration is not needed to submit homeworks and projects. So you're here, and if you're in Telegram and Slack, you're good to go. Sometimes the email service that we use is not super reliable, even though we started sending emails today. If you did not receive it, maybe you unsubscribed from our Data Talks Club newsletter, then you will not receive any communication from us through the newsletter, but you can still use Telegram and Slack. But yeah, no need to worry if you did not receive it. Right? So as long as you're here, as long as you're in Slack, as long as you're in Telegram, and by the way, like, it can be just Slack, for example, if you don't have a Telegram account. You don't have to have a Telegram account. So yeah, it's enough. You don't need to sign up to submit homework. What are some of the main libraries that we will be using? So we'll use scikit-learn. That's the main library. Also, we'll use XGBoost. We will use Keras and TensorFlow. And then we will use, for deployment, we will use Docker, Flask, some AWS services. We will use TensorFlow serving, we will use AWS Lambda, we will use Kubernetes. Yeah, I think I probably forgot some of the libraries, but that's the main ones. Tips to make the best out of this course based on what you observed in previous cohorts. Yeah, so take a look at the notes, take notes yourselves and share the notes with us, share your progress in public, and maybe also try to start doing projects earlier. So interestingly, surprisingly, the most difficult thing for students when doing the projects was not the project itself, but selecting the data set for the project. Which is funny, right? Because like this is, it seems like a trivial thing, right? But it's not, right? So many people spend a lot of time thinking, okay, what's the best data set I should use? So maybe you can start thinking about that already right now. Right? And then by the time we start working on the midterm project, you already know what you want to do for your project, right? So that's maybe one of the most useful tips, I think. Which time will the live classes be? So we will not have a lot of live classes. So we will have a stream like that at the beginning. Then sometimes we will have office hours videos, streams when you can ask questions, like also using Slido. But because we have done so many office hours previously, we have a very extensive FAQ document. The need for these live classes is kind of decreasing because like most of the question I have answered multiple times. So yeah, we will not have a lot of interactions like that, like the one we have right now, because most of the content is already there. And I guess the reason you ask this is because you want to know like when you should be available. So don't worry, it's just whenever you are available, you can consume content, right? And then we're always there in Slack. We can always answer your questions. So don't worry about that too. So there is still a way to communicate for us. What do you suggest to connect with other fellow learners in the course? Use Slack, I guess. Also depends what you want to do. Like if you want to connect with the learners from the same city, you can just post a message in Slack, in the Slack channel saying, hey, I live in Bangalore, for example, let's meet this Sunday and do something together, right? So just post this and that's the only thing that comes to mind, to be honest. I hear differences all the time. In your opinion, what's the difference in the duties for data scientist, ML engineer? Okay, so for that, we have an article. So if you go to our website, articles, one of the first articles we have is roles in a data team. So I'll probably send the link right now here. So just go through this article and you will see that, there are many different roles. There is a data scientist, there is a ML engineer, there are other folks there. And this article goes into details of what each of them do. And for example, I can briefly answer your question. So data scientist is focusing more on the modeling part. So if we talk about the course, so this is what a data scientist would spend more time doing, this part, machine learning part. And the deployment part is what ML engineer would do most of the time. But the lines are usually blurry. So sometimes there are data scientists who are quite good at deployment and MLOps stuff in general. Sometimes there are ML engineers who are also good at modeling. So it really depends on the individual, on the roles in a company, and many, many things. But there is also this concept of a full stack data scientist. So this is an idea that you as a data scientist can do a project end to end, which includes, doing some project management stuff, doing some data analytics stuff, doing some data engineering stuff, doing some data science stuff, doing some ML engineering stuff. It's possible, right? So, but for one single person, it's not really possible to be an expert in all these areas. But if you want to be like a jack of all trades within the data science domain, it's definitely possible. But of course, you will need to specialize in one of the things. And usually for data scientists, it's modeling. For ML engineers, it's more like deployment and MLOps. Will there be new homework for 2023? It's not broken. It's just we did not create the folder yet. There will be a new homework. It will be very similar to the homework from the previous year. We just did not have a chance to start putting content there. but probably today or this week I will create the folder, I will create a document there, and I will put this stream, the one we have today, to this folder, right? So we will have something, and then with time we will put more and more stuff there. How will the feedback process be? Is there any Q&A for each week? Yeah, so what we typically did previously is we recorded a video for each homework, right? And also the leaderboard, on the leaderboard, it did not work. But like in the leaderboard, you will get to see where you made mistakes, and then there will be a video or the solution, not in form of video, but maybe the code, right? Where you can see what is the right answer, right? So this is how you will get the feedback. Is there any project example from the previous cohort that can inspire us? Yeah, so we have some videos, I think, yeah, in this playlist. So I will show you how I found this playlist. So if you go to Datadogs Club YouTube channel, there is playlists. Let me close this. And then, yeah, we have a lot of playlists. And then what you want to find is Machine Learning Zoomcamp, this one. And I think, yeah, if you go through this, yeah, I think we need to, so that's the playlist with the content. I think we need to take this Machine Learning Zoomcamp 2020-21, and then, yeah, I think we have some project presentations here. Right, so for example, this project by Lisa, project by Caroline, project by Alvaro, project by Timur. Yeah, so you can check this playlist. And then, of course, I will also show you one other thing. When the way we evaluate project is through peer review. So you will need to evaluate your peers. And these tables with assignments, they are still available. So I will show you what I mean by that. So I go to cohort 2022, I go to projects, and then we have evaluation assignments, right? So for midterm, for capstone 1 and capstone 2. So I'll open these evaluation assignments. And you see that this is, as a reviewer, you will need to evaluate these 3 projects, and then there is a project URL. And then I can just open this project and can see what was there. So what you can do is you can just go to this document and randomly click on a few things and see what's there, right? And most of these projects are pretty good. Is this course an introductory level course that you advise after completing? There are 2 questions. This is an introductory level course, yeah. And after completing this one, you can take an MLOps course. So we will have our MLOps course. The one for this year is wrapping up, and then we'll have the next one in May 2024. So you can take that one too. But like if your goal is to find a job, this course is sufficient. I saw that the course will be 4 months. Are we able to submit our projects earlier? Yeah, you will need to wait till a form is open. And then because we will also have the peer review, right? So you will need to be able to review your peers, and this usually happens within a specific week. So I don't know in advance which week it will be, because sometimes like we will extend homeworks and so on. But at some point closer to November, I think there will be a week where you will need to evaluate your peers, right? So of course you can start working on your project right now, and then you will have a link, and then you will just submit this link to the form, and then you will evaluate your peers. What if I fall in progress? Is there a support system? I'm not sure what exactly you mean. Well, there is a support system in Slack if there are problems. you can ask in Slack. But before asking in Slack, where is it? Zoomcamp. There is a very extensive FAQ document that will probably cover all your questions. So if you go to this FAQ, so you will see, like, it's a very long document. You see like 121. So chances are that you have a problem, you don't know how to solve it, you go to this FAQ problem and you will see a solution here. I am pretty sure for 90% of your problems, 95% maybe, you will find a solution there. If you don't, you can go to Slack and task there. And also don't forget about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is very useful too. But I don't know if this question is about that or what happens if you fail your project, if you don't pass the project. Then that's the reason we have 3 projects. So in order to graduate, you need to complete 2 out of 3. So if you have 1 unsuccessful attempt, then you still have 2 more, right? And then this is how you, if you fail to deliver 1 project, you don't fail the course yet. Yeah, there is still time to register. How long? 4 months. Thanks for providing these courses. I consider joining ML Zoomcamp again. Will some lessons contain? I already answered that. There will be no new content. How to get in touch with people who did this course before? Ask in Slack. Some of them still come to our community, and they will answer your questions. I answered that question already. Check this analysis by Timur I was talking about. Is there any crucial difference between this course and various paid courses? Yes, it's free. I don't know, like, do you have any particular paid course in mind? But this course is difficult, like I mentioned that already, but this course requires a lot of work from you. Many people do not finish this course, right? So if you're determined to finish it, I'm pretty sure you will learn a lot and you will not have any problems finding a job. Maybe that's another difference, right? Because we give you a lot of content and we ask you to work on that. We ask you to go through this content and we ask you to put this in practice, right? So you have to work on projects. If you don't work on your projects, you do not finish the course, right? I don't know about various paid courses. Here, you have to work, right? You have to put these things in practice. If you don't complete the course. We answered this question. I answered this question already. Your course is very valuable and probably extremely time consuming for you. Out of curiosity, how do you make money from this initiative? Well, yes, we do also earn from this course, not directly, but you might have noticed that we have a newsletter, and in this newsletter there is sponsored content, right? So this is how we earn money. This is one of the ways we earn money. There are other ways, but this is this is how we do not starve. Without any experience after completing this course, can one be fit for an entry-level data science or ML job? Yeah. You mentioned that some people got jobs after this course. What did they do to stand out? You need to ask them. Yeah. I think what they did is they finished their projects and they shared their progress in public and they applied for jobs, right? So probably they did something else. But maybe you can ask in Slack if there is anyone from the previous cohort, if they found a job, what kind of tips they can give you. We also had a few interviews. So here in Datadogs Club, we have a podcast, right? So this here. And we interviewed some of the people from the previous, I think I need to find right now, but we did interview some students, past students. Maybe, yeah, I cannot, it's just too much stuff right now. Maybe I'll share some links later. Yeah, you can learn from their experience too. I think we should be wrapping up, right? So I'll probably answer 3 more questions. My plan was to only spend half an hour on answering your questions. We took a bit more, but it's fine. There is a lot of questions. I'm really happy with the engagement. I'm really happy with all these questions that we're getting. So thanks again for joining me today. I see there's quite a few people. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining us. So let me go through these questions. Can an entry data analyst job be a part of the Zoomcamp? It seems a bit intimidating. So we do not cover data analysis here. So data analyst job is completely different from ML engineering job. So we don't really talk about this here. And then for that, maybe again, go to the article we have here about roles in the data team, check what data analysts do. And then yeah, I'm pretty sure you will find a lot of content on becoming a data analyst. And again, also we have a podcast, and I think there is a way good one here with Juan Pablo, where he talks about his experience from transitioning from being a math teacher to doing analytics engineering. So here he talks about like upskilling himself in analytics. So check that out. I think he shares some good resources there. Who will be the teaching assistant or people we can ask for help and how we contact them? So this is a community-driven course. Of course, we will have teaching assistants, and I will be there also. But most of the time, students help each other. So you go to Slack, you post your questions, and then other students who solve this problem will help you. So this is how it worked, and this is really the biggest, maybe the biggest difference between this course and other courses is that we have this community of students who really want to help each other. And for me personally, it's always, I am really happy to see that when I go to Slack, I open the course channel, I see the questions, and I see that these questions are already answered by the students. So this is really amazing. So thanks for doing that. And I'm pretty sure something like that will happen again. And yeah, also maybe like some of you wonder, okay, this course is free, but how can I thank you for making this available for free? What you can do is help others, right? So when you're in Slack and you see somebody is having troubles with something, just help them. And you will also learn something new when you do this. Of course, if you have time to do this, right? So it will help us, it will help the students, it will help you personally if you do that. So yeah. What's the duration of the course? Can it be fast-tracked if I'm able to grasp faster? So the duration is 4 months. You can already start watching the content. You will need to wait for the homeworks though. So you can finish, let's say, if you can grasp things faster, you can watch all the content right now, and then just focus on homeworks and focus on projects, right? And then you can also start doing projects right now and submit them when there's time. Is there any overlap between this course and the data engineering course? No, not really. They're completely 2 different courses. Are there students from past batches already hired as ML engineers? Yes. Are the project's topics going to be given, or we will find our own? You will have to find your own topic. I want to eventually work in the ML space. Would you say it makes sense to go for the sequence of this course, data engineering? Yeah, so data engineering will not be super useful for you if you want to work in the ML space. It's useful, but not strictly required, let's say. So I would say just doing ML engineering and then MLOps should be sufficient. When will the registration for MLOps Zoomcamp start next year? And you can already register right now. You will not get the confirmation, but then at some point we will send you the emails. Thanks for all the effort. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for thanking us. It's very nice to see that. I think I can answer a few more questions. Can I do this course projects on an old PC? Yes. I would suggest that you use an AWS. You create an AWS account, and then from your old PC, you connect to a remote instance, an instance in the cloud, and do all the work there. But yeah, you don't need to have a powerful PC. Even if you don't use AWS, you still can do a lot on your computer. Should a data engineer be part of this course? What do you mean? Like, can a data engineer take this course? Yes, by all means. How will we get the certificate? Where we will upload our project and how it will be graded? What are your expectations from the project? You will see like all these questions we will answer. I can give you a short answer. So there will be a Google form. You will create your project on GitHub. You will submit the link to your project through the form. And then there is some criteria that we share in advance. And then your peers will evaluate your project. You will get feedback. And yeah, so this is how it will be graded. Knowledge requirements, I think I answered that in the like half an hour ago. Check the stream if you joined later, but the short answer is check the prerequisites section in the course repo. Can we begin the course right after this Q&A session? Yes. Will CNNs and NLP be covered in details? CNNs, yes, we'll cover them in some details, not in depth, but we'll more like give you an intuition how they work, but not cover it extensively. So again, this is an introductory course, but we will give you links to other more in-depth courses. What kind of programming experience of 1 year I require to have? I have done CPP, C++, and Python uni classes. Build some CLI projects and OOP knowledge. Yeah, you're good to go. I mean, as long as you know, like, what are the if statements, what are the for loops, and so on. And it's not just you only know them, but you apply this knowledge in practice for some period of time. Let's say for 1 year at university or 1 year at work, you're good to go. Is it difficult to navigate to the links? Do you mind sharing them again? Which links? I guess you mean this ML Zoomcamp. So just type mlzoomcamp.com and that's all you need. We'll discover graph data science as well. No. Must I know math? No. Is there a success data for you? I don't know what you mean. Like, what is success to you? You can ask this in Slack. When does the course end? End of this year? Is there a timeline in which? Yeah, just check this deadline calendar I showed you from the previous cohort. So I talked about that like half an hour, maybe rewatch and then you will see it. So what the first day will be like? So I'll go through the repo. It will be like a more proper presentation and it will be a Q&A session like the one we have today. The Airtable page shows the start date is May 15th. It's actually September 11. So where does it say that? Maybe you're looking at the wrong Airtable form. I don't know where you see that. Maybe write me in DM, please, in Slack. Yeah, I will talk about the article on when we start. I think I should be wrapping up. So thanks a lot for all your questions. Thanks a lot for joining me today. Yeah, 165 people are still with me now. Thanks. I will stop sharing my screen right now. So I just want to do this heart. Thanks for joining me today. And yeah, so right now you do not have to do anything. You can already start watching the content if you want. What you can do is maybe share this link with your friends. If you know somebody who is interested in doing the course too, you can share it with them. And yeah, It's almost September. It's back to school now. So happy learning, and we will see each other again pretty soon. In 2 weeks, I think, right? So it's the next week. Yeah, in 2 weeks. So